Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the 100th episode of the Cars and Coffee with Kenny Brown show. Can you believe it's 100 episodes? I'm Carrie Southworth, one of the co-hosts, and Brad, why don't you join me, is my cohort, and we have special guest host, Rich Cottrell. Rich, sneak in here. Show your face. Rich Cottrell. Okay, I didn't give you much time. So anyway, we have a great show lineup today. Brad, can you believe it's the 100th episode of Cars and Coffee with Kenny Brown? And Kenny was such an integral part of that.
I can't, no. And I apologize, my screen appears to be blurry.
So you put it on, yeah. Okay. Well, okay. We'll figure it out.
So I came back. Yeah, so no, I can't believe it's our 100th episode, and I'm super excited about today's show because I know we both have worked really hard on it, and we've got some cool things that are happening. So
what we're doing today is we are going to be playing Kenny Brown trivia, and we have a ton of prizes to win. So make sure you invite your friends. You can text them right now or give them a quick call. They don't want to miss out. You're going to want to have them here. It's going to be such a fun show. The trivia questions that Brad came up with are incredible. So we'll have fun with that. We also are going to be playing 3 of Kenny's videos. One is going to be can a Fox body outhandle a BMW? That should be really interesting. Also, 5 critical steps to building a performance car. And we're going to be doing Kenny's tips for preparing your car for spring. And that's pretty appropriate right now since we're coming into the spring and into the track racing season. So, Brad, let's see who's here today. We have Jorge's here and Joe Johnson. We saw you on before we even went live. So you were the first ones. You won I don't know, maybe they should win a prize for being first. And then we have Steve Smith. Welcome. Tim Allen. We love to see you. We also have, we have, let's see, Joe Johnson, Fred Francher, Dylan Hawkins. Thanks for the congratulations. We really appreciate that. And let's see who else we have on there. St. Louis. Who is that from St. Louis? Kathy Browning's on. We have a lot of people joining us today. What we're going to do is we're going to play a video first, and then we'll wait for a few more people to join in so we can share those prizes equally. Let's see. Also, before the show starts, trivia starts, why don't you invite a friend? That's very important that you invite your friends. They don't want to miss out. We have a ton of gifts to give away. So, Brad, do you have anything to add? You want to do some housekeeping?
I do. So before we start the trivia and we play the video, if you're watching on the Kenny Brown Speed Therapy Society Facebook page and you want to participate in the trivia portion, it's probably best if you switch over and view and comment on the Kenny Brown Performance Regular Business Facebook page. That way we can see your name when you leave a comment. If you leave a comment while you're viewing on the group page, the Speed Therapy Society group page, we will not be able to see your name. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult to figure out who the winner is for each trivia question coming up. If you're viewing on Facebook, also be sure to share the video with your friends or another group. Let your friends know if you can also share the YouTube link as well. If you're viewing on YouTube, be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. Also, if you follow us on YouTube, you may have seen yesterday that I posted up a video short on our YouTube channel, and in that video short there are some tips or hints to where you can find answers to the trivia questions. And so those answers are actually hidden in some comments that were made on recent Instagram posts. So that's sort of there's a little hidden nugget or several hidden nuggets out there that'll help you with some of these trivia questions. But you've got to be fast, or you have to be paying attention to our social media pages to have seen those comments. So that's the fun part of it. But you only have a few minutes if you're going to go look. So
here we go. So the other thing is, while you're on our Instagram channel and our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to it. That's very important. And also remember to invite your friends. You can just send a little text right now. They're going to love this show. Lots of giveaways, lots of Kenny Brown trivia, and some really good video from Kenny. We're very excited. If you're just joining us, this is our 100th episode of Kenny Brown Cars and Coffee. I just changed the name, Brad. What do you think? That's what Kenny wanted. Let's see who's still here. Michael Bowman, Tom Nelson, thank you. And Jake is here. Dave Robinson. We also have, it says Facebook user Tim Allen, some hope everything is good with you. So if we want to put your name in, if you're that Facebook user, we have Kobe Ward, 100, woohoo! That is incredible for us. And this is actually 3 years almost to the date when we started it. I think that was really interesting. Brad told me that a week ago, and we thought, well, we need to do something about this. And Brad put a lot of work into this.
Yeah, the first air date for Cars and Coffee with Kenny Brown was February 22nd, 2020. So it has been almost 3 years to the date.
So that's pretty cool. We kind of skipped a few in there, but now we're back. Brad and I are doing the show. We're bringing in really cool guests, and we also play some video of Kenny, and so he is still part of the game. Okay, Brad, how about we show that video? So we are going to be seeing 5 critical steps to building a performance car, and then after that, we'll start the trivia.
Okay, here we go.
Here's the 5 critical things that we talk about in performance planning. And planning is so important. If you're going to go on a trip, and today all you got to do is talk to your phone and tell you where you want to go, and poof, all of a sudden, the whole route's planned out through the nav. But let's say pre-nav, if you wanted to go someplace, you have to pull out a map and say, okay, I'm going to go here and figure out the best way to get there. Well, performance planning on a car is absolutely no different, because the number one thing in performance planning is start with the end in mind. You have to know where you're going to end up, and you work backwards from there. Anytime I build a new car, a new platform, I always envision the entire car first. What's it going to be? And then from there in my mind, I kind of work backwards on the steps we need to do to get to that point. The same thing. I mean, if you're going to do a car, then your performance planning, think about where you want to be ultimately, and then you break it into steps or years or whatever. But you need to start with where you want to be, because if you don't, you may do something and make an update, and all of a sudden for the next step, well, you got to take that off and put something else on. So if you're planning out, then everything you put on, you don't have to back up and go backwards. The next thing is decide whether you're going to build a street car, a track car, or a race car, because the criteria on components are not completely different, but very different from each of those, because you don't want to put race car stuff on a street car, and you don't want to put street car stuff on a race car. So you have to make your mind up which it's going to be, and the track car stuff kind of in the middle. And in the track car, even, you have to figure out, is it a little street and a lot of track, or a lot of street and a little track? Because again, then all the components are different. And then you need to start. The next one is, I can't read my writing. Ever since I type so much on the computer, I go to write stuff, I can't even understand my own writing. It's kind of, I think writing before long is going to be a lost art. Expectations and budget. Make sure your budget and expectations are aligned. A lot of times people have these great ideas on what they want to do. They'll call in and get one of my 15 minutes, and they'll say they want this, and what's the best way to go about it? And then I say, well, do you have any idea what that's going to cost? And as soon as I start talking about what they just outlined, all of a sudden, a lot of people go numb, because they really didn't think that far ahead as far as their budget and their expectations. So get your budget and expectations in line. That's another advantage of having one of my 15-minute consults is if you've got a budget and an idea, a plan, or where you want to be, we'll help you work backwards from there. So that you get the best route, the most cost effective, so you don't have to redo things. The next one is stick with a proven philosophy. Like my philosophy is completely different than anybody else in the aftermarket in motorsports or in the Mustang world. Whether you stick with mine or if there's somebody else out there that you like the philosophy, what they do, stick with it. Don't mix and match. The worst calls I get is people call in and the car really doesn't work very well, and they start listing out the parts, and they got this component here, springs there, shocks there, control arms here. They get everybody's parts on there. As soon as you start putting a whole bunch of parts from a whole bunch of different places, what you're doing is, you might not realize it, but you are on your very own R&D program. And, because you're going to have to find out how all that works together. When people call in, they got all that stuff. I mean, I don't have good answers because I don't know how all that stuff works together. I've never done it. With mine, mine's philosophy is pretty straightforward. The whole suspension system we do now started in 1986, actually 87, with the championship Saline cars, and it's progressed to the point it is, up to actually AGS 4.5 now for S197s. So, stick with the philosophy, whether it's mine or somebody else's, because if you stick with, if it's like, another company and you like them, you've had a relationship with them before, stick with them. Because if you have a problem, they're going to be able to tell you how to fix it. If you're working with my philosophy, my stuff, if you have a problem, we're going to be able to tell you how to work through it. And then the last is choose your parts carefully. The worst thing you want to do is you don't want the cheapest parts ever, because the cheapest parts are the most expensive. And if you're long term, cheap parts are expensive. Choose your parts. Like if you're using my philosophy, try to get everything from this program. If you like somebody else, try to get all your parts from them, and just don't get seduced by all these online sites where you got all these different parts to choose from. Try to stick with somebody that can tell you what to do. So anyway, that's kind of like the 5 critical steps. And I think I mentioned through here, if you really want help, I've got my 15-minute consults, which we do quite a bit of, and they're very, very popular. People are pretty blown away to actually take the time to talk to them and share real information, not something somebody read on the internet or heard. And what we ended up doing is, this is kind of Cari gave me this is kind of an example we did for Joe Doe. We took the name out to protect the innocent, and also the phone number. But this was like for an 18 GT, and I don't know if you can see this. We just go down. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and because a lot of people, for budget considerations, can't do it all at once. So I'll come up with a plan and we'll put it in a logical format, so you can actually do step 1, and then when you can afford it, step 2, and just go all the way down. And that way you don't have to back up and redo. You're using a plan. You're working on a plan, and when you put stuff on, it's going to work with the next stuff you put on and the next stuff you put on. So performance planning is super critical. And like I say, with 15-minute consults.
Well, wait, see if Kenny comes back on. The video is just about finished. So he was talking about the consult. I just putting in the comments right now. If you want to, we are continuing on doing the free 15-minute consults. And it's a really good way if you have a tech question. Kenny trained us well, so we have a number of people we can refer you to: Brad, Rich, Wes Dunkel. So we have, like I said, a number of people we can refer to the 15 minutes. We're doing a great job with it. We love carrying on Kenny's legacy. So if you have a tech question, you want us to help you with a build plan, please sign up for the 15-minute. I put a calendar link in the comments. So it was interesting that Kenny mentioned that. I thought, oh, well, we probably should mention that to you. So now, Brad, guess what time it is?
It's time for...
You are on mute. So, Brad, guess what time it is?
Can you hear me now?
You are
Because-
on mute. Okay, or he doesn't have
No,
volume. So I will
I'm
carry
not
on
muted.
with everything. What we are doing is we're going to start the trivia questions. Again, here's a couple of things you need to know before we start. First of all, we want you to invite your friends, and because this is going to be a great show, lots of giveaways. So you can text your friends right now, and then if you have invited a friend, I want to see that in the comments that you did invite somebody. We are going to be asking questions. When you answer, put your name after the answer so we know who it is and we can get you your prize. Not always the first person that answers is going to win, but you need to be quick. We're going to give you a couple hints. If you are on our Instagram channel or our YouTube channel, you may be able to find most of the answers there. These trivia questions are hard, and you're going to go, huh? And Brad is going to have the answers. I'm going to ask the questions, and we will show you what you're going to win after I ask a question. So here we go. Brad, can you talk? Can we hear your voice?
Apparently everybody can hear me. I don't know if you can.
Can't hear your voice. So you guys have me and Rich. So
Okay.
you step in here, and we will run the show without Brad today. He's going to be helping in the background, showing us some of the trivia answers. So here we go. What was the first hot rod Ford van Kenny ever built? Again, the first trivia question is, what was the first hot rod Ford van Kenny ever built? Oh, okay, so Bob Jones can hear Brad. Okay, Brad, so other people can hear you. I just can't hear you.
And so this
I
question,
don't know why that
this
is,
question,
but we'll just
this
keep going
question is
on.
actually a
That's
trick
what we
question.
do when we have technical difficulties. So let's see. Everybody, can you answer that question again? What was the first hot rod van Ford Kenny ever built? So, and what you're going to win is a subscription to Mustang Hub. Mustang Hub is a really cool publication. It's high quality. It's, print is not available much anymore. And actually, here's a story on our rear grip kit. So it's a really good publication to get, and it's real high quality. They have a lot of good stories in here on Mustang, specifically Mustang, and it's just really great magazine. So
The quality is just phenomenal.
Step on in.
The quality of the magazine is just incredible. The photography is just impeccable. So it's probably one of the best magazines out for Mustang enthusiasts.
So that's what you will be winning. And let's see if we have any answers so far. Calvin Corey, he knows this. Well, what's your answer, Calvin? So, and we don't have an answer so far. Oh my goodness, guys. Are we stumping you on the first question? Well, Brad, what do you think? Do I need to share? You need to give me a thumbs up if I need to share the answer, if we're going to wait a little bit longer for the answer.
It's a Ford van, and it was black.
Calvin, Windstar, you're close, but no cigar. Let's see. The magazine is amazing. Yes, it is. The GT4 feature was eye-opening. That is so super true. Okay, now I have a Facebook user, and it doesn't say your name, so if you can answer again, Dark Star, that's good, Kelvin. Whoever answered Econoline, their name is Facebook user, so if you can answer again, you will be winning the subscription to Mustang Hub magazine. So we'll wait for that to come in. Jorge, okay. I don't know if that's who it was. So Facebook user that answered the Econoline first, if you put your name, we'll get that for you. Otherwise, Jorge will win. So Brad, why don't you show the picture of the wins? Here we go. There we go. And Brad, you want to talk a little bit about that since people can hear you and I can't hear you?
Yeah, so this Econoline van was dubbed the Arrow Hauler.
Right.
And if you'll notice, you can see that it's got a cool little wind splitter down here. It's got a couple of aftermarkets, running lights. It's got custom wheels and general tires, of course. It's got these cool little wide fender flares. The whole thing is completely blacked out. You'll notice he moved the Ford logo from where I believe was the center down to the lower left-hand corner. So this is a really cool vehicle that he did. And that's just one of many unknown vehicles that he built and hot rodded that a lot of people wouldn't think of, just because they know him mostly for, Mustangs and Crown Victorias and things like that. So I'll stop sharing that and we'll go back to Cari.
So it looks like we have, it was Brian West who answered the question first. And you know what, Brian? We were talking before the show and we figured you would answer the first question because you are nimble on the computer. So what we're going to do, we'll go to the next question. And the next question is, what model of Oldsmobile vehicle did Kenny and Oldsmobile plan to build together in Indianapolis? And there's actually two cars, but if you can guess one of them, and then we'll give you the answer to that. This is a really interesting program. I won't tell you the vehicle, but I'll tell you a little bit about it. We put together a program. We went and presented to them. They asked us, invited us in to build, I think it was 1,000 vehicles of these two models for 3 years. So a kind of a high performance model of these Oldsmobile cars. And we put on a proposal out of all the people that they invited. We won. We put in our PO, and the day that we put our PO in and they were ready to cut a check, Oldsmobile was closed down. None of the people at Oldsmobile actually knew that it was closed. They were as shocked as we were.
They were here in
Yeah,
Indianapolis.
come on in, Brad, Rich.
They were here in Indianapolis actually to meet with us on the program to sign it and get it in place. And they heard on the news, the same as we did, that Oldsmobile was shutting down production as far as their vehicles. So
it's so close, but so far away. And that was going to be a really cool program. Kenny was really excited about it and knew exactly what it was going to do to make those cars perform better on street and track. So let's see who the winner is of that. The Laro, Dylan says. We have the Cutlass, Jorge. Kobe says Aurora. And let's see, Brad.
It looks like Dylan got it correct.
Yes. Dylan got it correct. I didn't even show what you went on this one. So
This is the, he'll love this. It's unleaded coffee blend. So Dylan, I don't know if you like decaf coffee or not, Dylan, but if you do, you're going to love this because this is Kenny Brown's special unleaded blend of coffee. I'll show you here. So there you go, Dylan. And it's whole bean too, so hopefully you like whole bean.
okay, give us some thumbs up if you're enjoying our Kenny Brown trivia session here. So the next question that we have.
Hang on. We have to show everyone what the Alero look like.
Oh yes. Okay, go ahead.
So here we go. This is the OSV Oldsmobile Specialty Vehicles Alero. And so this car is a really cool car. I'll show you another. Again, this is a classic example: chassis, suspension, wheels, tires, brakes, and then Oldsmobile handled some other hot rodding. But let me show you this other photo real quick here. Okay, there you go. And so that's a front 3/4 shot of the car. So I can't even tell you how many different modifications that were planned to be done for this vehicle, but it obviously was body work, wheels, tires, brakes, the full Kenny Brown treatment. So anyway, thought that was cool and everyone would enjoy that.
Okay.
And we're back.
We are back. Okay, so let's see the next.
So the next thing that we're giving away, Cari, is a Fox Body FX trucker hat.
Yes, it is. And
Courtesy of our friend Lance at Fox Body FX.
Oh, FX? I thought it was. I didn't see the FX. Okay, so we don't have that hat here. I do have, Brad, I don't know if you know this or not, but I put some money, no expense for this show. I hired a high-end fashion model to model our hats.
Oh,
Yes.
well, what does he look like?
Yes. Well, this isn't the FX hat though, so I guess we have to wait a little bit. Or let's give away the Kenny Brown hat first. How does that sound?
Okay. Give away the Kenny Brown hat. This is a really good question too.
Okay.
So
Come on in.
are you going to show the hat beforehand?
Yeah. Well, let's ask the question first, and then we'll model the hat.
She's not very good looking.
So anyway,
I
let's
thought we
model.
had a model.
We do. Well, I didn't tell you that. They called in sick,
Ooh.
so.
I like that.
You like that?
Okay, so what kind of hat is this?
This is a Kenny Brown trucker hat. And so here's the question, and then we'll do a little more modeling. Kenny Brown built 2 heavily armored limousines. What was the make of that vehicle? Again, what was the make of that vehicle? Kenny built 2 heavily armored limousines. What was the make of that vehicle? So, Rich, come on in. We need to show off this hat a little bit more. Why don't you take it off and show the logo in front of the camera? Ooh.
So these limousines were, when I say they were armored, they were heavily armored. I don't know what the rating was, but the doors of the vehicle were so heavy that Cari could not even open the door at all.
They were this thick. The door was this thick, and that's no exaggeration.
When it showed up, you'd open the door and the car would lean over and the edge of the door would almost touch the ground. It would absolutely upset the balance of the car just opening the doors.
Oh my goodness. We have somebody that did get the answer correct, but we're looking for the second person to give us the correct answer. And so if everybody's paying attention, somebody's already gotten the answer correct, but we're looking for the second correct answer. And so these particular cars, what we had to do to them was we had to take a GMC heavy duty front and rear suspension from a truck and use those as the suspension on this particular limousine. Also of special interest, and I believe that Rich will remember this quite well, is we built 2 of these limousines, and the first limousine that was delivered to the foreign leader who had ordered these particular cars was rejected because the wood grain trim in the interior of the vehicle, which was all 100% custom, appeared to have the face of a monkey in it. And so the foreign leader saw that, and apparently that was a no-go for him. And he rejected the car and wanted to have the wood grain piece replaced with something else. And so we do have a winner. That is Jorge, of course. Jorge's a regular contest winner for us, but he guessed Cadillac. And so Dylan Calkins, he guessed Cadillac DTS, which was the exact vehicle. He did guess that first, but Dylan also won the coffee, and so we're trying to limit the number of winners to 1 unique individual per prize. So we're trying not to have duplicate winners, but that doesn't mean that we won't do something for you as well, Dylan. So anyway, let me show you real quick a vehicle, a picture of this vehicle. And so this is pretty much an exact copy of the Cadillacs that we built that went to an overseas country. But you can see that it looks just like a normal vehicle for all intents purposes. But those tires are like solid rubber. This thing can drive over a landmine and drive away with the type of concept for that. So we built 2 Cadillac DTS vehicles. And so the company that we did a lot of the armor plating work with was located over in Cincinnati, Ohio, and the name of that company is O'Gara Hess. And so O'Gara Hess was a company that was contracted by various different governments and private individuals to build armor-plated vehicles. And Rich knows a lot about these armor-plated vehicles or bulletproof vehicles in some cases, because we probably built how many of those, Rich? 100 maybe, or was it 20?
Well,
I don't know.
Well, it was, I think it was in the 50 range, but we had a constant flow of Crown Vics, but we had a excursion that showed up that had a crowd sweeper bar that they had to lock it in because it was spring loaded. So if somebody tried to get to the door and open the door of one of the vehicles, it would actually have a crowd sweeper to it. And so that one showed up and it was locked down. But we generally, for a long period of time, usually had 2 to maybe 3 Crown Vics that we were going through and setting up suspension for. And those that carried on for several years. So it was quite a few as far as the Crown Vics.
Okay, Rich, take off your glasses for a minute. Okay, just model that hat a little bit more. Look at that. So don't you think, look at this, look.
That's sweet. Oh, it's way better with the hat on.
That Kenny Brown hat takes 10 years off your age. Look at that. Do you notice that? Look at oops. You look better in the hat, Rich. So, okay, there we go. So we have the winner again. It's Jorge and Dylan. I think we're going to give you a hat too, because we're just going to do that. So the next question we have.
Wait a minute, Cari. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Have you checked to make sure that none of those balloons are Chinese spy balloons? One of them looks a little shady to me.
Let's see. Yeah. The silver ones are the spy balloons. You need to cut those down.
Oh, must be this one. Must be this one.
Okay, so then the next question.
Okay, do we have a GT3 race car poster? The black car?
Yes, we do, and it's the XSR. It's not the GT3. So let's show the GT3. And this question is, what was the first sport truck that Kenny ever built? So again, what was the first sports truck that Kenny ever built? And this is what you will be winning.
And so a lot of people don't know that Kenny did a lot of work with trucks. He had an entire product line for the Ford F-150 Lightning truck. We had several chassis pieces that we manufactured for those trucks. That was a really good market for us at one time. Kenny put together a plan. Well, I guess it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. He was working with some people to potentially do a run of specialty F-150 vehicles. But the original Kenny Brown sport truck, or the first sport truck that he ever built, was, as Kobe Ward noted, he was the first one to get this answer correct, was the Ford Ranger. And I believe that Kenny actually V8 swapped a Ranger or two, and there is still at least one of those vehicles that is floating around out there today. But I'll show you a picture of the Kenny Brown Ranger sport truck. And here we go. And so if you notice the wheels that were on that black van that we showed you earlier, the Econoline van, you'll notice the same wheels were used for this Ranger. And so the Ranger was basically lowered, exhaust. It had some chassis bits on it. Has the big Kenny Brown logo on the back of the vehicle. It's also got it on the side of the vehicle. Some of these were V8 swap vehicles. They were manual transmission vehicles. So these were like legitimate hot rods back in the day. This is before they started doing V8 swaps and C10s and drag racing them. This is like the original cool small sized pickup truck. So that came straight out of the archives. I thought everybody would think that was cool.
Well, we have a winner, and we're going to have our guest host announce who it is.
Brad, it looks like it's Kobe Ward that won this one. And so anyway, he's going to win the poster. Now, the nice thing about the poster is it was actually designed in '93, and it was Ken's concept of what the SN95 body was going to look like, and they put that together in 1993 before the SN95 was introduced. So it was kind of a cool premonition as far as what it was going to be.
Rich took down the spy balloon, by the way.
I took the spy balloon out, Brad, so couldn't waste the helium.
I think you went back to before puberty too. So anyway, here's something interesting. Michael Bowman made a comment. He said, was it Kenny that did the Ranger truck for Celine in the 80s as well? I assumed so, given the timing, but wasn't sure. So here's another fun fact. Kenny Brown did build and manage the Celine race truck program. So in the Escort Endurance series back in the 80s, they actually had a class for trucks. And so there were several different manufacturers that put together a fleet or a team of trucks to run in that series as well. And so Celine, of course, had, I believe there were 2 or 3 trucks that raced under the Celine name. Those were all Ford Rangers. And so that's where Kenny got his feet wet in the Ford Ranger originally. And so that would be before the time of the red truck that we just showed you. So cool information, Mike. Thanks.
And does anybody, if you can put in the comments if you like this, what we're doing, and if you want us to do it again, obviously we won't do it maybe once a year, twice a year. Put in the comments that you would like us to do it again. We'd like to hear that so we know what you guys like. The next question, are you ready for the next question, Brad?
Yeah, I'm ready for the next question.
Okay.
This is for the beanie, is that right?
No, I changed it. It's for the Flex Fit hat. So we have our model that's going to be walking over here. But first, let me ask a question. Kenny built only one hot rod version of a compact car. What model Ford was this car? So again, Kenny built only one hot rod version of a compact car. What model Ford was this car? Okay, let's have our model come over here. And model.
The answer to this question is going to be really hard to get. I mean, I'll be surprised if anybody can guess what this Ford compact car was. We've got some good guesses so far, but so far we don't have any correct answers.
Oh my gosh. Did you get that reflection, Brad? Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's our.
That's sexy.
Looks pretty
Rich has
good.
been working out.
So this
Rich was working out all week long for this.
This is the Flex Fit hat, also called the dad hat. So this is what you will be winning if you answer this question. So again, this is Kenny built only one hot rod version of a compact car. What model Ford was it? Let's see. Do we have any answers coming in? We'll wait another minute or
we do have some answers coming in. So Kobe is really, really close, but he's not there. We have some other people that have guessed the Escort, the Contour, the Tempo. And so no, not the Escort, not the Contour, not the Tempo. Fiesta is really close. Oh my gosh, Kobe. Yep. So Kobe is the one who got the answer correct. If anybody else is okay, and so Calvin just chimed in with the Festiva as well. Frank Condis, no, it's not the Capri, but thank you, Frank, for joining us today. So I'm going to show everybody what the car was. And here we go. And so I thought Calvin would really love this one. Kobe, I'm sure that you'll appreciate this. This is the Kenny Brown Festiva Sport. And so again, this is another classic example of chassis, suspension, wheels, tires, brakes. But yeah, check out those cool Euro Sport old school wheels. I mean, this is like back in the day.
And this is, this is BC before Cari. I think it's BB before Brad and BR before Rich. So, and that was the storefront of Kenny's first facility. That's where I started working, but I was not there during the Festiva Sport. Brad is a historian for Kenny Brown. Can you guys tell? I didn't even know this car existed. I don't know where he's pulling this stuff up, but he is, and they're pretty good questions. So, Calvin, let's see, Colby. What I think what we're going to do for the people that win first and then they win again, they'll get to choose one between the two that they won. So you choose one, and then we'll give it to the second person that gets the answer. So this one, Colby won, and then also Kelvin, you're getting a dad hat, and Colby, you get to choose between the poster or the dad hat or the flex fit hat. So that's what we're doing there. The next, Brad, do you think we should play a little video of Kenny?
Yeah. So
okay, Kelvin said the Shogun version of that car.
Yeah. That was the car that everybody wanted when they were like young kids. The Shogun was like the stuff, you know what I mean? That's like, if you couldn't afford the Mustang, then the Shogun was kind of like the, Dodge had these Shelby versions of some of their smaller cars. And so the Shogun was sort of fit into that category as well. And so we have a video that I'll have to set up. So Cari, maybe we can go ahead and do the next trivia question. Sure. This was for the
beanie. This is the beanie.
Mercury. And then I've got to set up the next video.
Okay, I will talk through. So we're going to have our model in again. What was the first Hot Rod Mercury vehicle that Kenny ever built? Again, this is a trick question. What was the first Hot Rod Mercury vehicle that Kenny ever built? And you get a beanie for this if you answer this question. Oh, you need to stand a little bit closer into the camera. Look at that. Oh, I don't think you're the beanie guy. You might want to take that off. I don't think we'll sell any beanies with you having that hat on. Okay, never mind. Here's the beanie.
That's what Rory refers to as a toque, I believe.
A toque, yes, a toque. Up north, it's called a toque. Sorry, Rich. Okay,
and it's kind of fitting as well that we're giving away a toque. We referred to Jorge when we made that comment about the beanie, and it appears that Jorge was the first person to answer the question correctly. The first Mercury vehicle that Kenny Brown ever built or hot rodded was, in fact, the Mercury Cougar. And so I'll show you guys a picture of the Cougar here. Again, completely blacked out. So obviously Kenny at that time had a thing for black. But again, another perfect example of chassis, suspension, wheels, tires, brakes. And so he added the March. Remember classic March fog lights? I mean, who didn't have those back in the 1980s? And so this is a really cool car. Wheels, tires. So Kenny did Lincolns. He did the Mercuries. He did the Thunderbirds. A lot of these cars were built on the same platform. And so anyway, it's just really cool picture out of the archives. And so this is one that I didn't know about for years, and then I ran across it after the fact.
And so what's interesting about that to me, that car is starting to show a little bit of the Kenny Brown stance. Kenny's cars have a specific stance, and that kind of is, I think, leading into his next generation of cars. And we have a couple comments, Brad. Why don't you line up the video? I'll read some of the comments here. Jorge said, perhaps can model the beanie. Oh, Cari can model beanie. I probably look just as bad as Brad. So thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe I will put it on though. It'll be fun. See, I'm not a beanie person either. So anyway, but it does look good on the right person and on younger people, I think. So, but if you want to use it for staying warm as a toque, go ahead. It's a really nice quality, guys. This is just a really nice hat. Okay, and we also have some other questions here. The Cougar is beautiful. Tim Allen likes the fog lights. Bill Butler's on. Hi, Bill. Bill just joined our team, the Kenny Brown team. You'll be meeting him shortly. He also has, Bill, why don't you put in the comments the show that you're doing at World Headquarters. This is the first year for it. He was able to get it at World Ford Headquarters, and it's a Fox Body, Fox Platform show. And there's going to be, I think, all the Celine race cars are going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of Foxes. We're thinking of bringing one of our the Old Blue there, and if we have the tribute car finished by that time, the Outlaw tribute car, we'll bring that. But Bill will add a comment here as far as a little bit about our show and maybe a link. So Bill's a wonderful guy. You'll love him. Let's see. It's Motor City Fox Fest. So just look up Motor City Fox Fest. Bill, if you want to put a link in there, you can do that. And then we also had a comment. Brad, I want you to listen to this. And I'm not. Jack Sieber said that he thought this looked like a Lincoln product, the Cougar.
Yeah, and it could be. I had several pictures of the Cougar and the Lincoln together, and so I may have mixed that up a little bit.
Okay, and so we're going forward. We're going to show the video, but if you can give us some likes or comment if you want us to do something like this again, that's important. If you're like, just go back to the tech stuff in the video, the guests, then we'll be doing that as well. So just comment if you like this or give us some thumbs up. And Brad, are we ready to go on to the next video?
Yeah, and I hopefully the video plays better than the last one did. If not, the audio quality should be great. What that going for us? But so a lot. We get so many calls about Fox bodies, and you know it's kind of like a what would Kenny do is always the ultimate question here. And so this video is pretty popular on our YouTube channel. But there was a user. And this goes back maybe a couple of years. A viewer, said, "Can you really make a Fox body Mustang handle like a BMW?" And this particular customer was in New Zealand, had a Fox body Mustang. BMW was kind of like set the standard for the Targa rallies and things like that they do over there. And so he wanted to build this Fox body Mustang to be able to compete with what he called BMWs. And so the video is great because it kind of gives Kenny's, version of what he would do and what the ultimate answer to that question would be. So here we go.
You need to look at what a new Fox Mustang costs and what a BMW costs. I mean, there's a big difference in price. And the BMWs are great cars. They make great track cars. But to make them really good track cars, you still need to do a lot of modifications to them. You can take any car to the track and be I should say any car, but most cars to the track and be fairly confident. But there's some cars you better know. The BMWs is one of those that's better. Now, getting back to your Fox Mustang, here's my recommendation. The first thing you need to do is get the matrix system underneath there. The double cross steel frame connectors, the jacking rail, and the matrix brace. You got to stiffen that chassis up because that's a big difference between the Fox Mustang and BMW. Is they've got a very rigid chassis. The more rigid the chassis, the better suspension is going to work. Actually, the better ride quality too. That's not step number one. If I was going to do something like that with a Fox, absolutely, I'd put the IRS in. The IRS just makes them a different car. And we've got a number of people are doing IRS cars these days with our suspension, to the point where we're actually modifying the brackets. And when we do the geometry upgrade in the IRS carrier, we cut the great big ugly brackets off the back. We cut them off and we We put plates so we can bolt it straight to the frame rail, so it doesn't move. And we've actually adding another hull that will be compatible with not all Fox, but most Fox Mustangs. So get to the get the IRS, and then from there it's just a matter of springs and shocks. Now, we don't have as good a range of springs and shocks, coilover type springs and shocks for the Mustang as there are for the BMW, but we do have a good package, coilover front and rear for actually SN95 is applicable to Fox. And we can set you up with, I can pick out some spring rates to make it. I mean, it'll handle pretty good. And that's what I'm going to talk about Roy's car. That's what we have on Roy's car. He's got the AGS 3.5, and it's 4 197s, but it will fit a Fox. The K member, you need to do a little massaging around the frame. Little body things have to be attended to, but it will fit. So absolutely IRS. There's just no doubt about it. It'll be much better ride quality. The live axle is going to give you, IRS.
All right, so there we go. We got the straight scoop on what Kenny would do for the Fox Body Mustang, especially if he was building it for something like the Targa Newfoundland, who, that event can be a little brutal. Here's an interesting fun fact. Kenny's son, Paul Brown, raced in the Targa Newfoundland in New Zealand several years ago, and he was racing a Morgan with a basically Terminator engine in it. And I don't think it was a Terminator. It was a 4.6 liter 4-valve naturally aspirated engine in a blue and silver Morgan. And so the Morgan was a great niche British car. Paul had an infatuation with Morgans, and he raced a couple of different variations of them. And I don't have a picture to show of that car, but there are several pictures of that car floating around. So this car was beautiful. It was kind of a darker blue with a metallic silver. The car was fast, and he raced it at several different places across the United States as well as overseas. So there's another fun fact for you, Cari. Did you know that?
No, I did not. I did not know that. I mean, Brad, I don't know where you come up with stuff, but it's pretty cool that we can carry on his legacy and show things he did years ago, some bizarre things and really interesting projects. So I think that just, Brad, we're going to kind of cover for you, not knowing that was a Lincoln instead of a Cougar. So that was just a test for you guys. That was part of the trivia questions. So the first person that said it was I think it was a Lincoln Mark, I think it's a Mark 7. That would be Jack Sieber. You are going to win the beanie. So,
and here's another interesting fun fact. And I don't think that he is viewing today, but Jeff Jacobucci in Colorado, he owns the very first short wheelbase Thunderbird that Kenny built. But another fun fact is he also owns the one and only Lincoln short wheelbase car that Kenny built. And I don't have a picture of that car either, but there was one that they did that was based on the Lincoln and not the Thunderbird. Same platform, but so that was another cool car. So what's next, Cari?
well, I'm going to read a couple of these comments because it's pretty interesting. It says the Marcal, I can't pronounce that, the French automotive lighting company that made many variations of lighting for sports cars, very much used on the 85 and 86 Mustangs. Yes, and that was the Lincoln Mark 7. So LSC. I remember those. Yeah, he did do one Cougar though, Brad. So you were right there. We just had the wrong picture up. And then Michael Bowman says that with Bill Butler, who is doing the Motor City Ford show. And Bill, why don't you put the date in there? And if you can put your website where they can register, that would be great also. But Michael wants Bill to do a Ford trivia, motorsports trivia show, and we can do that because we were going to have him on anyway. We like you guys to meet our staff, and so we will have Bill Butler on soon. And let's see, Jorge said, I will be there, Motor City Fox Fest. Already lined up my show tickets and hotel. I am so looking forward to it. It should be a great show. I cannot believe he got the Ford headquarters. I mean, who does that in their first year of their show? So that will be a great show. I believe it's in July. I don't have the exact date. So Bill, if you're still with us, put that in there. And we are ready for our next question. We're running almost at 11 o'clock right now. We have a couple questions left and still more prizes to give away. What color was Kenny's first personal Fox body race car? What color was Kenny's first personal Fox body race car? This is when he campaigned at Tulsa. And I can't remember where else, but a famous driver, female driver, drove that for him as well. So let's see what we have here. Black, blue. Okay. My goodness, Jack Seaver, you are on top of it. And then we have Old Blue. Yeah, Jorge, Old Blue. Yeah, that's a good guess is Old Blue, but it was Brad, do you want to show the color, the car?
Yep. Give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I thought I added it to the stream.
Yeah, you had showed it to me before the show. So anyway, it's black and has big, there it is. And if you look at the front of it, it has a KB Tweaks. That's what
Can you see the photo?
Yeah, I can see it. So
okay, I can see it on my end. We're having some technical difficulties.
This is a Super GT line of Fox Mustangs. He also had the Outlaw. The Outlaw was the top of the line. Super GTs were more of a street performance car. So that's what we're promoting. But obviously this was a race car. And at the front of it, this is when Kenny was called Project Industries. And he was kind of playing with names that he wanted to go with the company. KB Tweaks was one of them. It says KB Tweaks Performance Parts on the front of that. Sometime, Brad, you can bring up the KB Tweaks logo on one of the other shows. It's a pretty cool logo, and it looks caricature of just what he looked like at that time. But we eventually went with Kenny Brown Performance. That was about the time that I started working with him. And we decided that his name would be better to use than KB Tweaks. So that's how that started. So let's go on to another question. Jack Seaver, I remember Paul autocrossing that car. Yeah, Paul, you're from Omaha, Nebraska, so you're very familiar with everything we were doing. And yeah, Paul did autocross that car. Who was the driver of the Fox race car? I believe it was Lynn St. James drove it at Topeka. Oh, no, that was the JPS car. Right, Brad? I'm pretty sure that was so I was wrong. I can't remember who. I know he campaigned this car, but I don't remember who was driving.
So just FYI, I got dropped out of the studio. It looks like my internet connection is not doing so well. So
Okay.
So that car, and I may have missed part of what you said. So that was I believe his first race car. That was a number 0. That car was renumbered to the number 50, and Lynn St. James drove that in the World Challenge race at Topeka. And at that same time, Lynn was also driving a Trans Am car. Her sponsor was Secret Women's Deodorant, and she was driving for Jack Roush in a Jack Roush Mustang at the time. And so she campaigned that black and yellow car at Topeka in the World Challenge race under the number 50.
Good. You have such a great memory, and you are a historian. So, and it was kind of interesting. We have a really cool picture of Lynn and Ken, and Lynn is going like this to Ken, like telling him something about the car, and it's classic. It's a classic picture. I love that picture of them. The next question, we need to kind of keep moving here. It's 11 o'clock already. I hope you guys can stay tuned a little bit longer. We have What car is the current cover of Mustang Hub magazine? For this, you'll win a Mustang Hub subscription. I'm not going to hold up the magazine again. What car is on the cover of the current Mustang Hub magazine? So that's an interesting one, and I gave you a big hint earlier. So we'll see where that goes. And Mustang Hub is a great magazine. Again, you can Google Mustang Hub, sign up for a subscription. It's a really high quality magazine. We have the K-Link was in the current edition, and then pretty soon they're going to be doing a story on our matrix system. So they're covering us well. We really like the publication.
So I believe that we do have a winner, Cari, on this. I'm going to go ahead and show the picture, but Tom Nelson said 86 GT, and I believe, let me just see if I can go here and look. Okay, there we go. Not sure if that's an 86 GT or not. That is a blue Fox body Mustang. Hopefully everybody can see that picture. Again, I'm having some issues on my end.
So if you know what year it is, we're going to give it to Tom Nelson, but if you know you Fox body aficionados, you can guess on that. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question that we have, and that is
This is a trick question.
This is a very trick question. Name the first female driver who drove a Kenny Brown Mustang race car and also drove at the annual Goodwood Revival in the UK. This is a big trick question. Again, name the first female driver who drove a Kenny Brown Mustang race car and also drove at the annual Goodwood Revival in the UK. And what you will win on this is the Kenny Brown. Well, we're going to do this one instead, I think. Brad, I'm switching it up a little bit as far as what they win.
Okay.
So it's a GT350, and this is drawn by artist Jim Girdham, and he did a lot of Kenny's concept drawings. If you go onto his website, Design Factory, you can purchase this and a whole bunch of his other Kenny Brown prints and also all of the other drawings that he's done. So this one right here, we're going to be giving away, and we have Rich, what size is the
9 by 18.
9 by 18. This is a smaller size, but we have a 9 by 18 that we're going to be giving away as a prize for this. And this is signed by the artist and the designer, so you'll really enjoy this. I don't want to take it out of the cover, so sorry about that. There. So that's what you're going to be winning. So Brad, do we have anybody answering the question correctly? Bill Butler, Lisa Caceres. No, that's not the answer. Let's see. We have Darren Ingelston. You did get the answer correct. So Darren Ingelston. And Darren and everybody else that won, some of you are customers, but Darren, I don't know if you are or not, but if you can send your contact information to info@kennybrown.com or just call into our office so we have your address, we would appreciate it. Again, info@kennybrown.com to send in your address so we can send out your winner's gift. Zach Sieber, Desiree Wilson, yeah, those are all the drivers that worked with Kenny. Kenny also, he always loved working with women. I guess who doesn't, right? If you're male. But anyways, he also did the Mercury Mountaineer with Ford and Lynn St. James, and they had 6 women in that car. Oh, you have it up. My goodness, is he ever good? So this is the car. And oops, I was trying to make that bigger. There we go. And so this is the car that those 6 women all rode in that car. And maybe it's 5. It's 5. No, it's 5. So anyway,
it was actually 4 girls. So in the picture, we have Lynn St. James, who's right here. Wow, she looks so young back there. And then this is the gentleman who is to the, I guess what would be right of her. He is he was somebody from Ford Motor Company. I'm not sure, there were the 4 girls that are dressed in polos that match the one that Lynn is wearing. Those were the females who were actually driving this vehicle in the One Lap of America. And then there's somebody in a black polo shirt, and I think they were from the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And so this vehicle was built for Mercury, for these girls to campaign in the One Lap of America as part of the Race for a Cure program, which was in support of the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And so this particular vehicle was it was blue and silver, two-tone, a classic example of chassis, suspension, wheels, tires, brakes. We had put a custom roll cage in this to make it as track worthy as possible. So it had a full cage from front to rear. It had an upgraded brake package. It had upgraded wheels and tires. It had a mildly upgraded engine package. It had custom exhaust system. It had headers. It was lowered. It had shocks, different shocks and springs on it. It was a really, really cool vehicle. And I will say that this vehicle right here, by far and away, was my wife's favorite vehicle to drive. And so she got the opportunity to drive this thing a couple of times. And Lynn, I believe, still has this vehicle, if I'm not mistaken. It was kind of one of her prized possessions. And I've got to tell you, this was one of the funnest SUVs that we ever built.
I don't know, Brad. I love my SUV too. I had an Explorer.
Yeah, but yours was supercharged.
Yeah, mine was supercharged.
Yeah, Cari drove around a high horsepower supercharged Ford Explorer with a really similar but nicer wheel and tire package. It was super aggressive. It sounded great. That vehicle was absolutely fun to drive.
Yeah, it had bigger wheels and
so
tires.
that was probably.
Yeah. So that was a fun project, and they went from city to city on One Lap, and they had massive radio and TV interviews promoting the Komen Foundation. So this next question this is what you get to win. Wes Dunkel's 11 to 14 Mustang. How to build a 11 to 14 Mustang. It's pretty cool. And this question, Brad, is what color? I love this one. What color did Kenny say was the most menacing color to see in a driver's rear view mirror? And again, what color did Kenny say was the most menacing color to see in a driver's rear view mirror? And a hint is a lot of his race cars have this color on the front of the car.
Oh. So we've got some answers coming in.
Yes, we do. We do.
And this is one of those where if you are somewhat of a Kenny Brown historian yourself, this might be an answer where you have to be the fastest typer to get it in. And so we've got a couple of people who have chimed in already. And I'm happy to say that the first person to get this answer correct was Tim Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tim Allen is a member of the Speed Therapy Academy alumni, and we're excited to see that hopefully he doesn't have this book already, but I'll show you a picture of, I think this might have been the last yellow race car that we built, of course, a car that was yellow. And so this was an interesting concept. And so, of course, it had to be yellow because it had to be menacing, and it had to drive people crazy if they had to see it in their rear view mirrors. And so this was a car that we ran in the 2014 Speed GT series, which was, again, that's the World Challenge series. It's just at the time it was called the Speed GT series. That was the Speed channel back then. So we're going back quite a while. But this was really the only IRS-based Cobra that was ran, I guess, in real professional racing, at least at a professional level. And so this color scheme was pretty interesting. The blue stripes that you see, that they were a very vibrant blue. And so one of the things that Kenny taught to me is that the best colors for race cars, if you want them to really stand out well on TV, was to use colors that you would see like in a coral reef, really vibrant variations of like orange and blue and things like that. And so this was a good example of that theory, that concept, and this car really did look good on TV for sure. It really stood out. And so that's another cool fun fact right there.
That is awesome. And Kenny always liked to use not just yellow, but a yellow tint, just the tint instead of mixing more colors into it. He used a very bright yellow. So, and if you've seen the Celine cars, they continue to get brighter. So that was kind of what he wanted. So we have a couple got to run. Calvin, good to see you. Tim, let us know what you'd like. I know you already have a beanie, or it's on the way. So anyway, let us know what you'd like. We'll give you something else besides the book, because I know you have a Fox body. Okay,
the next question is going to be hard, I think, for everybody. This might be one of the hardest questions, and you really have to be you have to be that type of person who's really paid attention in cars and coffee. And Kenny has talked about coffee on more than one occasion. And so this might be a scenario where people are just blurting out answers randomly, and hopefully somebody gets the right one. And I guess there's two different correct answers. So anyway, just wanted to say that beforehand, Cari.
Okay, cool. So what it is what's one of Kenny's favorite coffees? What's one of Kenny's favorite coffees? And it's not flavored coffee, I can tell you that. And he used to drink, I don't know if I should say it, I'll wait until the coffee answers come through, but he used to drink this coffee, and he would get at Starbucks, we'd go on road trips, and he'd have to stop at Starbucks, and the venti comes with 3 shots. He would get 5 shots. One time he got 6, and I said, no. We're not doing 6 shots of Kenny Brown on that much caffeine. So he was already moving around a lot without caffeine. So let's see. Oh, Kobe, you know what? I don't know if that was his favorite decaf, but he drank a lot of decaf in his later years. So
yeah, we're looking for something like Colombian, Costa Rican. I'll give everybody a hint. Let's see if I can come up with a good hint here. Oui. Maybe that's a hint.
Oh, Michael Bowen, Oh Dark 30. That is great. That is so great. I love that.
Well, Kenny did like Oh Dark 30.
You know, that is actually pretty accurate, Brad, too. I think we maybe need to give it to Michael. What do you say? So
yeah,
it's French, French press and espresso.
And Kenny did come up with his own blend, Oh Dark 30. Not too shabby, huh? It's pretty good coffee. I've tried some. And so Oh Dark 30. And so this giveaway was for a complete sampler pack. So the Oh Dark 30 is included. The unleaded is included. We've also got Daytona Dawn, which is another great blend. Kobe, you were just a little bit late to the game there, but you nailed it. French roast coffee was Kenny's favorite. It must have been the wee hint that they gave it away. Just took a minute for it to kind of register. But yeah, so he loved French roast coffee, and he also loved decaf espresso. And so I haven't even figured out what the deal is with decaf espresso. It's almost kind of contradicts itself.
He had to drink decaf, so I don't know if decaf was his favorite, but he loved espresso as well. So, and he liked the two combined. So let's see, we have 1, 2 more questions. 1 more question left, Brad, I think?
We've
Okay,
got
so
3 more questions.
Okay, so we'll keep you going a little bit longer, guys. So here is the next question. What was Kenny's favorite treat after a long day at the racetrack? What was Kenny's favorite treat after a long day at the racetrack? And this is a liquid, and he never drank when he was at the racetrack. When he was on track, that was one of his cardinal rules, that none of our staff that was there could drink because it slowed you down. And he always recommended that drivers on the track not drink the night before because it slows you down, it slows your reflexes and everything like that. And that was one of our rules, but I know for a fact that our staff snuck off and had drinks in a bar, occasionally, probably all the time. So, but anyway, it slows you down, and that was one of his rules. So let's see. Well, Colby, Scotch. Oh, yeah. He loved Scotch, but that's not the right answer. And we
Okay,
have.
hang on just a second,
Okay.
Cari. I've got to look into this. We had a couple of people that they got the answer correct. I'm just struggling with my bandwidth here a little bit.
Well, the first one that I see that got it is called Facebook user. It came at 11:15 our time. He said a root beer float, and that is correct. He loved root beer floats. He thought they were very refreshing at the track. In fact, when we did track days, we would always have root beer floats either on Saturday or Sunday, depending on how hot the day was. But around noon, right after lunch hour, we'd have everybody come to the track or come to our display area, and we'd serve them a free root beer float. He loved doing that. So that's one of his things.
It looks like the person that actually got it first was Paul Miller.
Okay, so you can see that name. Okay, cool. So
Yeah,
Paul Miller. Yay, Paul.
Paul Miller, and I think Dondero might have been just after him. So, but we'll give it to Paul Miller.
Okay, Paul Miller, you are getting a root beer float kit. So
let me show you.
2 mugs and some root beer.
Root beer float.
And it's a Kenny Brown root beer, so you'll enjoy that. Okay, we're getting Brad. I think we're going to show do you want to show the last video real quick, and then we'll have one more question.
I thought because we've got 2 more questions, and I thought that because we're running behind and the videos are playing so slowly, or at least they're freezing up, that maybe we might forego the last video because we're going to be doing replays for the next couple of weeks before we come back live. So we can go ahead with the next question.
Sure. The next question is, Kenny had a famous saying, slow in, fast out, fast in, what? Fill in the blank. So again, Kenny had a famous saying, slow in, fast out, fast in, what?
Blank.
And this is
slow in, fast out, fast in, blank. You have to fill in the blank. And we've got somebody who's close. Oh, and we've got another Facebook user. We don't know who that is. And so I'm going to have to go back and look.
So if
we've got some really good comments. We've got some great comments for sure. Let me see if I can do. Let me see if I can do. The person who got the answer correct just shows up as Facebook user. So we can't, I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have to look and find out who this person is.
Okay, and it looks like, Rich, if you want to write down, Paul Dondero was the first person on the chat. That's not who we're seeing, but why don't we give him a gift as well? That was for the root beer float kit.
Okay.
And he's probably had some of our root beer floats. Paul, have you had root beer floats with us at Road America? I'm sure you've been there. And so anyway, we're going to find the Facebook user. That's what Brad's working on right now. And again, it's slow in, fast out, fast in, spin out. And if you think about it track wise, that's how you need to drive. Slow in, fast out, or fast in, spin out. So if you go into the corner too fast, you're going to spin out. And we had that with Spinny Vinny. Worked for Muscle Mustang and Fast Forward, and Kenny took a ride with him, but he went too fast into the corner and he spun out, and he became Spinny Vinny in our world. So, and Brad, have you found that user?
I did, and so he's another previous winner as well.
Okay.
And
What's
so
his
let me
name?
look here and see.
And Tom Nelson had last out, fast in, last out. That's true. That's true.
And Cliff Glenn said understeer now. You know,
Cliff, it's great to see you here.
and so Paul Miller was the first person again to answer that question. In fact, he was the only one that answered it in full, which is spin out. Kobe said spin. I love Jorge's comment apex. Dylan said slow out. Somebody said off track, last out, understeer out. And so, yeah, so again, that was Paul Miller on that one. So we'll think of something cool to do.
Well, why don't you show what the winner, what this is? We didn't show the gift. It's a Kenny Brown 20-ounce Fat Boy tumbler.
It's a Fat Boy too. These are great tumblers. They're like double wall or super insulated. This stuff will keep whatever fluids you have cold for a long time, or you could put your soup in there if you want to. You could have like a peanut butter jelly sandwich and tomato soup. You could put your soup in here if you want. But anyway, these tumblers are awesome, high quality tumblers, and they come with the Kenny Brown logo and everything, just like the one that's on my custom made shirt right here. So we'll talk about that. Yeah.
We'll talk about that pretty soon coming up. And Cliff, it's great to see you. Just happy that you're here. Also, we have, this is the last question. And so we're not going to show the video, but we'll show it in the next session. The next couple weeks, we're going to be off. Brad has commitments, so we'll be playing some Kenny Brown reruns, or not reruns, encore presentations, that's the correct term. And we always enjoy those. He always shares a lot of knowledge. And then we'll come back, and we have a number of guests that we have lined up to come in. So here we go. This is for a Kenny Brown $50 gift card. And Brad's been giving you a lot of hints. You need to get on your keyboard or on your phone and type fast for this one, because a lot of people, I think, are going to know the answer to this one, or you should, especially at Speed Therapy Academy people. Get ready. Speed Therapy Academy alumni, you should know this. Okay, here we go. Fast. What are Kenny's, this is for the $50 gift card. What are Kenny's 5 most critical steps to building the Mustang performance platform? Again, what are Kenny's 5 most critical steps to building the Mustang performance platform? Let's see what this is.
Oh, wow.
Whoa! Wow, that came in fast. Tim Allen. That's what I'm seeing right now.
So I guess the Speed Therapy Academy alumni members learned a lot more about typing fast than we thought. They learned a lot about driving fast, but they learned a lot about typing fast. And we've got Tim Allen, we got Dylan, who was literally a split.
And Jorge is actually going to be attending our next Speed Therapy Academy as well. So Jorge typed it in fast. And Dave Robinson, wow. Dave, you're on here all the time, so you know. Tim Allen, that's great. Wonderful. Kenny would be proud.
I can't believe that everybody typed that out and didn't misspell anything.
And how fast. We have a delay of like 8 to 10 seconds delay from when you guys type something until we can see it. And I think, Tim Allen, yours came through way before that. So again, Tim, you win a $50 gift card. And we are going to, that is the end of all our gifts. We hope you enjoyed this show. Kenny would be thrilled that we were doing this. He would have probably a lot of fun and probably share more information, and he would just think this was a hoot. So glad you joined us the next 2 weeks. We will be, let's see, Brad.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Next 2 weeks, again, Kenny will be on with encore presentations, and then the following a few weeks, we'll have guests on and watch your emails and your social media channels for the guests. There we go. There's KB Tweaks. So Kenny had a huge, not a handlebar mustache, that's a little exaggerated, but he had a huge mustache in his earlier days. Does anybody remember that? So
I'm sure that Calvin, who is probably not viewing anymore, I'm sure that Calvin remembers this well.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is back in the KB Tweaks days. We have all kinds of, we have pictures of his feet sticking out from under a car, pictures of him holding a hammer and a screwdriver, the thumbs up. We have pictures of him on a ladder. These are all cool caricatures that at some point we were going to do something with those, and I don't remember what, but we never did. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. Here's another thing I thought was cool. We haven't really shown that. And for anybody out there for anyone out there that's a Camaro lover, that is the Kenny Brown Camaro. So, and I'll stop sharing now.
okay.
Okay, so we'll have some more trivia at some point coming up. I don't want to say soon, but at some point we will, because there are just tons of things that Cari probably still doesn't even know about that I have found in the archives, and I want to share all of that. So we have Daytona prototype renderings. We have early renderings of SN95 cars that no one has ever seen. We have renderings of Crown Vic, Kenny's P2 Panthers that no one has ever seen. We've got just all kinds of cool stuff. So we're going to do this again. We'll give it a couple of months because we've got some cool special guests coming up, but we'll be sure to do it again. It was fun, and I hope everybody else out there had fun. And if you did, be sure to let us know.
Cliff, thanks for the comments. I had fun here for our 100th. Yes, and that's so true that we have so many viewers here that have been here for probably most of the shows. I know Robinson has been here for a lot of the shows. Many of you. Dylan said he had to type the answer before we finished the question, and he still didn't get it. So that's pretty cool. You guys knew the answer. Okay, I love you. Thank you. I'm really happy with that prize. Front grip kit, Tim Allen said. Dylan, love you guys. Thanks for all the stuff you guys do for us. Also, I love to learn things about the brand and its history. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. Repeat every anniversary. I think that's a really good thing to repeat it every anniversary. Remember the stash. Oh, Jack, you wouldn't remember the stash. Great show. This was a lot of fun. Cliff, good for you, Tim. The Academy rules. This was fun, guys. Happy 100th. We'll end with that. Jorge, happy 100th episode of the Cars and Coffee with Kenny Brown show. So thank you guys for joining us, for hanging out and watching the episodes. We really appreciate it. Anything else, Brad? Otherwise, we'll sign off.
Nope, that's it. Everybody have a really good weekend. And if any of you that are viewing are coming into town for Bike Week, let me know. We'll hook up.
Take care.